Attention pro athletes. Want to secure your financial legacy and thrive off the field? Oakbridge Wealth Management, led by wealth manager Chris Anicetti, is your dedicated financial planning ally. But don't take it from me. Take it from the Dallas Cowboys' Tyler Biadasz. He says, Chris set goals financially and has been incredibly impactful in my journey in the NFL. Experience our customized, comprehensive approach, trusted by top NFL players. Don't leave your financial success to chance. Connect with Chris on Instagram at OakbridgeWM_Anicetti. That's OakbridgeWM_ANICETE, and let Oakbridge Wealth Management guide you across the goal line.
Berkshire again, big opening, pass 5, pass 10, Vermont's a man, and he goes all the way to the 15-yard line. 17 yards of the terror.
Welcome back to the Believe in Badgers podcast on the Believe Podcast Network, presented by betonline.ag. Once again, I'm Matt Perkins, joined, as always, by Badger legend, the Hebrew Hammer himself, Matt Bernstein.
You can see this over here.
Bernie, how are we doing today?
Damn, Bryson is just like jacked in the window, but I don't look jacked in the window. I look fat. Look at this thing. Dude, listen, Matt Perkins, every day with you on the podcast is a holiday. I'm jacked up, Bryson, because I just did my 700th class at Orange Theory.
Okay, very good.
It's a long, it's a lot, but Matt Perkins said, why don't we do 700 podcasts? And I'm like, well, let's do it. We're like at what, 120 something?
Like 135-ish now, I want to say.
But every single one of those has been stellar. And Bryson, I don't think you're not going to be stellar. I think you're going to be amazing just off of what we've been chatting about. Also, you looked jacked, bro. What are you? You're a D lineman. How are you so cut up?
Well, one, I appreciate it. I mean, I've been seeing you guys do this kind of podcast stuff pretty recently. Honestly, you guys have been popping up in my feed recently. You guys do a great job. Not just getting all the star athletes that were there, but also just different insights from a wide range of people. I think you guys do a great job. So thank you for having me. First off, quite honestly, with being a D lineman, I think you got two ways to go: up or down, right?
Hopefully not up. Not up.
You either go up or down. And, I figured new city, I got to make sure I fit in all my clothes, everything like that. There's no point in me walking around New York being 330 pounds. There's just no reason for that. And, just
scare everyone, dude.
Just developed a couple good habits, changed the way I was eating, started doing different type of workouts. Honestly, incorporating some of the stuff that I learned throughout football, but just in a different way. Definitely helped on the recovery side. But yeah, man, just changed my life and changed my diet, changed what I've been doing. Lost about 90 pounds since my playing weight, which is just crazy. But yeah, man, just changed a lot of aspects of my life that I really needed to. So it's been great though. Just consistency is obviously the biggest thing with it, but it's been really, really good.
Listen, good for you. I'm going to let Matt Perkins, the man, the myth, the legend, do the ad reel. But
first of all, I was going to say, congratulations.
That's awesome.
Because that is huge. I guess negative huge in this way. You didn't get huge. You got a lot. You got a lot fitter. We're going to talk about that, and we're going to talk about, one of the things you're doing on this path to fitness is the money that you're raising for ALS, and such a wonderful, an important cause because it is such a crippling disease in so many ways. And so we're going to talk about that and all the great stuff with Bryson here. But before we do, want to remind you guys that we are presented by betonline.ag, where they remain your number one source for all of your online sports wagering needs. You name it, they've got it over there at BetOnline. NBA playoffs, NHL playoffs in full swing. Bryson, do you have a baseball team? Are you a baseball fan at all?
I will say this. I am, yes, a baseball fan. I'm a fan of honestly anything competitive, as, cliche as that sounds coming from
baseball in Nebraska.
Yeah, I was gonna say, there's not a lot of baseball in Nebraska.
Right. So hang with me. I am converting myself, whether this is the right thing or wrong thing. Yankees, Giants, Knicks. I don't know if that's allowed necessarily for a guy from the Midwest to New York. But look, I think it's okay just because Nebraska has no pro sports teams. I never had an allegiance to really anybody besides the Charlotte Bobcats when I was like 10 years old. So I have been to a couple of Rangers games, about 4 Knicks games, 3 Yankees games, plenty of Giants games now. So I'm just going to roll with those teams. I know Rodgers is with the Jets, but I like the Giants, so we're going to roll with that. I'm going to call myself a fan until that changes, I guess.
So we're going to both of us will let you get off the hook, I guess. Listen, there's nothing wrong with being a Yankees and a Giants fan. I have a million friends like that, but I was so pumped that you might have been a Mets and a Jets fan.
Bernie, here's the thing, though. You might still be able to convert him. He's still young enough in his fandom that he is still susceptible. So maybe maybe I need to come up. We need to have a night at Citi Field, have a
I haven't
drink.
even yet.
Exactly.
Yeah, I haven't been to a Mets game yet, so I could be swayed,
Actually, I have an idea. You guys are up for it.
With the fam, you're coming with us.
And on top of that, we're going to the U.S. Open. I know a guy this in September. Let's go.
Right.
No matter what the sport you are wagering on, though, they've got it over there at betonline.ag. So head on over to the website. Use your mobile device to sign up today. Use our promo code BELIEVE. That's BLEAV, written right here on the shirt, for 50% off on your first deposit. BetOnline, where the game starts. Bryson, we are going to start because I actually want to start by how we connected, because I saw that you were running to raise money for ALS, which is a cause that hits near to me. And also, I saw that you're training, you're getting really fit for it. I want to start there, actually. I want to start with what inspired you to start to try to raise money for ALS in this cause. And, so what's your journey been in that?
Yeah. So honestly, like I said, I just wanted to, kind of change my life when I moved out to New York. And that obviously involved running. Instead of just lifting heavy weights all the time, it involved running. And I remember, I had been in the city for really just 3 months or so when I saw the New York City Marathon. And it was always in the back of my head, just seeing, and just being inspired by all the different types of people that were running this race. I mean, people with one leg, no legs, no limbs, and just seeing people just somehow get through it. And that never left my head. It never left my head. And, as I got more into running, I figured, all right, well, now I'm just running around. I don't know exactly what I'm doing. I figured I might as well try to do some good with it. And so I looked online to the New York City Marathon website, the TCS website, and I saw the ALS pop up, one of the ALS associations pop up. And I said, oh, hold on. I didn't even know what type of, organizations were involved with this. I said, this is a sign. This is perfect. And I say that in 2010, my grandma was diagnosed with ALS, and she passed away from it in 2012. And, when you're around that kind of age, 10 to 12 years old, you don't remember much, from that time period. And for me, that really is one of the only things I remember. I was living in Rockville, Illinois at the time. My grandma was living in Nebraska. I just remember the 7-hour, 8-hour car ride, just going up there, honestly, as often as we could. And I remember just seeing her health deteriorate. And honestly, thankfully, if anything, through the ALS Association, she was able to kind of get some of the equipment that is needed. If anybody knows anything about ALS, you are cognitively still there. Your brain is functioning okay. It's just the physicality of things that you lose. You lose the ability to speak, to do to do any type of movement. By the end of it, you truly can't do anything. But the ALS Association ended up being the organization that provided the eye scanner. So when my grandma wanted to speak, she could look at the screen and look at certain letters and spell them out. And, even talking about it now, it just takes me back to when that was going on. And I think that, and I said this actually the other day on my story, because I'm kind of posting as I go on each week. Each week I'm posting, week 2, week 3. I said, you don't have to run. You don't have to really do anything. You get to do these things. I ran 7 miles in the rain, and I said, we get to do this. And it all just goes back to ALS and it truly taking everything from you. That was one of the hardest things, I had to go through as a kid. I can't even imagine how my mom, I can't even imagine how anybody, can really go through that with somebody like a parent, with somebody like a brother, with something like that. I was 10 years old. And like I said, it's one of the only things I can really remember from that time period. And I was so young. I can't imagine being, I'm 23 years old right now. If my brother went through that, if my mom went through that with, the 23-year-old emotions that I have versus, the 10-year-old not knowing really what's going on. And so I signed up for it. I emailed them. I said, this is why I would want to run. They said they would get back to me. I kept, bothering them with emails and emails. I've never ran a marathon, but I want to do this. Like, please let me do this. Have you filled up all the slots yet? They got back to me. They let me in. And so we're going to do this thing right. And like I said, for me, I have no problem working out, doing the runs, sticking to the schedule every single day, because I just think back to the people. We're all in the group chat, the people who share their stories. I think about my grandma. I've been talking to my mom about this every day. People at work who have donated to the cause have talked to me about friends, family. It's not hard for me to get up and go run in the morning or have a late night at work and go run afterwards, because you hear these stories and you just truly take it all in and you feel like you have to do some action. And so this is me, finally grown up, finally realizing that I can do something. At 10 years old, you feel like you can't do anything, right? This is me helping a great cause, doing this for my grandma, and quite honestly, doing this for everybody that's donated, who's ever been impacted by this. I'm telling people now, it's not just me running for my grandma and my family anymore. That was the original, what I was thinking, but now it's me running for anybody that's been affected, and to hopefully find a cure to this and donate to the research and everything like that. We're about $8,300 of the way there, which I am extremely grateful for everybody that has donated. It really has meant the world. And, we're going to try to get to that 10,000. We have time for it. But we're not going to be stopping with the running or anything like that. It just means, not so much right now. So.
Wait, so you're running in November?
Yes. November 5th.
Wow, dude. Good. Hey, there's some Badgers running, and I'll definitely get you hooked up with them. Yeah. But wait, go back though, because you started running. What's it like for like a bigger human being to start this journey?
Yeah.
It's not, but Chikwe, so we had Chikwe Obasi on who was a little bit before you. He was a 300 pounder or a 280, 290 type of guy. And he's running, 12, 13, mile races. So what's it like for you to be a bigger human, transition to but to do these things? I mean, you have this goal. So, I mean, obviously that's huge for you.
Right.
But what's it like to start that journey? Because there's a lot of people, AKA me, Matt Perkins, who are bigger human beings who don't really want to get on the road. So what's it like, man? Yeah.
So this is how it worked for me, because I was never a runner. And quite honestly, when I was done with football that second semester, I gained weight somehow. I gained weight when I was done with football, just because I was hitting the gym like crazy, but I was just lifting and being very slow and not really caring too much because I didn't have a game coming up or really ever again. So what do I need to rush for? I think the biggest switch for me was I literally just told myself one time, we're just going to get on the treadmill and try to run a mile. We're going to try to run a mile at, I think it was like a 7.5 pace or something. And I made it about 2/3 of the way. I mean, about 2/3 of the way.
7.5 is fast, dude.
7.5 is pretty moving.
That's a fast pace.
Try to go at 7.5 miles an hour. And, I was like, I wasn't that terrible. I figured I wasn't that terrible. I felt very warmed up.
It's about an 8-minute mile, a little bit under.
It's about 8 minutes. 7.5 is right around like 8 minutes. Like
7.5. Yeah, right. But dude, think about it. You're 300 and how many pounds at the time?
Yeah, at the time I was like 315 when I was trying to do that.
Dude, if you could do a 8-minute mile at 315 or 330, I would be scared of you no matter what. Like, keep going. I'm sorry to cut you off.
No. I'll get it.
That's a pretty impressive feat for you to try.
Well, that's also brutal on the knees.
It was brutal on the knees. And that, you know, I don't know how much you guys really pay attention to my career. Obviously, I had that knee surgery my sophomore year. So, you know, I still feel that sometimes. But like I said, that was the start. Just getting on there and not being able to finish the mile, which was really the start of it. But from there, I figured, all right, well, let's just try to get better at this. I never increased the speed. I stayed at right around 7, went down to like 6.5, tried to build up from basically 6.5, and just ran a mile before my workout. And then I added in running a mile after my workout. And I was doing that like once or twice a week. Then I went to 3 or 4 times. And then I was running at least a mile every day. But the really good transition came in from when I was trying to run really fast miles to just a little bit more distance on the miles. And quite honestly, that didn't really change until the end of last year, going into this year. You know, I didn't run my first 5 miles straight until I was in Las Vegas at my brother's tournament. And that was in March. That was early. That was at the beginning of March. So that was only 2.5 months ago that I ran my first ever 5 miles. But a week after I ran my first 5 miler, I ran my first 10 miler. And then another week after that, I just ramped it up to a half marathon, basically. And I know that there might be actual experienced runners who are saying, don't do that. And I agree 100% because now, like I said, I've been training for the marathon now, so I've been watching all these videos. Don't do that. You know, but that's
but
just
you also
something
must have lost a ton of weight too, right? Like what was your health journey like at the same time as you're building this running?
Yeah. No, that's actually a really great question. And you know, I tell people this, right? And sometimes they think I'm crazy, sometimes they get it. It depends, honestly, if you were an athlete or not, in my opinion. I eat basically the same thing every day and have been for months now. Along the journey, I think along with the journey of running came with, okay, how can I maximize how I feel while I'm running? They were really hand in hand. And so when I started on the job out here, I was like, okay, well, like I said, I don't need to be 320 pounds anymore. Like, let's just eat a little bit healthier. Then when I got to running, I'm like, okay, let's eat even a little bit healthier. Let's not snack. Let's not, you know, instead of eating, you know, maybe like a dessert or something, let's have some type of energy bar because we're going to go run later or something like that. So incorporating small little changes like that, then I started changing my lunch up. Now, when I say the same thing every day, my lunch every day besides the weekends is a bowl of spinach with chicken or maybe some type of steak or something. We have a cafeteria, so I can literally get the same thing every single day, and I do. A bowl of spinach, chicken, and carrots, like baby carrots, you know, and some hot sauce. No really dressings or anything like that. And I've been eating that every day for lunch for, like I said, probably about 4 or 5 months now. 6 months, something like that. And I don't mind it. I do not mind it at all. Quite honestly, I just am, you know, feeling the best I have ever felt. And so making those small adjustments to my diet, like I said, I took out carbs out of my lunch completely. I took out carbs out of my dinner completely. I carb load in the morning. For breakfast, I have, you know, oatmeal with some peanut butter and some eggs. But try to keep light on the carbs. You know, I don't really drink. That's not really my thing. I used to, you know, second semester of college, right? Gets away from you. You know, what are you going to do? Not enjoy it?
We'll go back to that.
All right. Very good. But yeah, just change my diet of barbs, you know, and just stay very
consistent. As we get older, totally. As we get older, the getting drunk second semester, everybody I talk to who's in their 40s, 50s, and 60s is like, dude, second semester or in college was the best time of my life. Can't do that anymore.
Yeah.
Also, we have these health goals, right? You want to have longevity. Drinking 5 glasses of wine, 10 glasses, 15 a week. It's not really what you should be doing. Not saying I can say I'm not doing that. I'm just saying I'm trying not to do that.
Right.
So, Bryson, I'm right with you. I just love that you're so like, you're like so very good at like is that where football came in? Like the schedule, the ability to, eat the same thing every day. I eat the same thing every day too. Like, I'm not changing a lot. I have a salad. I love it. I try to go as vegetarian as possible, only because I feel like there's benefits to that. But I'm on the weekends, I'm a disaster. So what do your weekends look like?
Yeah, so my weekends honestly are pretty normal, I would say. I wake up, on my Saturdays, do my long runs. I love just knocking those out on Saturday morning. So that's when I'm, hitting the 10, the 13, 15 mile type runs in the morning on the Saturday. And from there, it's really just enjoying my day, enjoying time with my roommates, hanging out. I try not to I give myself like one good day, like one good day if I'm going to like go out, if I'm going to have a nice dinner, something different. I give myself that either a Friday night, but usually a Saturday night once I did that long run on Saturday. But here's the thing, and here's where I think people, kind of get mixed up, is I love having a good time, right? I love going out and hanging out. I obviously go out with clients just because of my work. I just don't always drink. So when I'm going out, I usually just get, a soda water with a lime in it. And quite honestly, I'm always having a good time no matter what. I really don't need alcohol to have a good time. And so my weekends are truly just, going out, seeing the city a little bit, getting those runs in, just really enjoying time. Yeah. So like I said, I still love going out, still love having some of those late nights. The alcohol is just not involved, and it really hasn't changed anything for me at all.
Wait, so I had two questions. I want to bring it back to the ALS stuff, but I know when you jog in New York City, you see crazy things that people are not aware of or know or even think that it's possible. So I know, Bryson, you have 1 to 20,000 crazy things. Please, I'll tell you a crazy thing, but I want to hear what you have first. You can share or don't share, but
No, you have to share. That's the whole point of you asking. You have to share now. You can't say you can't ask and then say share or don't share.
Yeah. Okay. New York really is the craziest place in the world. I don't care what anybody says. It is the craziest place in the world, and it's really exciting because like you're saying, every single day you're just like, wait, what just happened? What just happened? Okay, so long story short, I'm going on a run. Like I said, I was living in Kips-Bay-Mer Hill area at this time. I was going on a run to the East River, and I'm running along the East River, and I see, dozens of firefighter trucks, police cars, ambulances, helicopters in the sky. I'm along the river now, police boats. And I can tell it's brand new because there's nothing gated off. There's nothing. So, I'm curious, right? I'm Midwest curious. So we like to check it out. I like to still check it out. And I'm walking over there and I see that there's this big car accident on a bridge that can kind of overlook the river. Big car accident on the bridge. And I see this guy, I see a shoe on the ground. I'm like, wait, are all these people here because somebody crashed their car, ran down this bridge, shoe fell off, jumped in the water? I was like, there's no way. There's no way that this is happening. People with scuba diving gear on. And as I'm getting closer and closer, I see them pull this dude out of the water. And this was like I said, this was probably like a month or so ago. So the water was still plenty cold. So in my head, I'm thinking, so this dude was getting chased by the cops, crashed the car, hops out of the crashed car, runs down the bridge, and his best option was, I'm going to jump in this river? Where are you going to go? Where are you going to go? I have no idea. I remember FaceTiming my mom being like, Mom, look how wide this river. People might not get how wide of a river I'm talking about. You're not swimming across it. I was thinking in my head, the only thing I could think about was, what was plan B here? You're going to jump in the water? You better hope you get arrested. You better hope they get you. And they got him. They put him on the thing. I ended up giving a cop the shoe that I found. And when I saw him on the cart, he had the other shoe on the left foot. It was that was one of the craziest things I've seen just going on the run.
They saved that dude's life.
They saved his life, for sure.
That is the current. Everyone's like, oh, I could definitely swim across. It's not the English Channel. The current is banana strong. And nobody jumps in I'm surprised that guy's alive, and so I'm happy you didn't see a dead person.
Yeah, no, he was definitely alive, and I can't imagine he was in the 2 hours. It was crazy though, because like you said, the current, but even the length of it, and just it's the New York City River. Like that is just.
I don't think Michael Phelps could swim that.
I don't know, but that guy, he definitely got lucky getting. Yeah, so that's my kind of
Bryson,
crazy story.
That's a crazy thing. I've turned the corner in Central Park once to see a woman squatting in the middle of the field, just peeing. Looked right at me, didn't stop. Stream was still strong, and just looked at me like I was the bad person for jogging on a path. And she's in the middle. I'm talking about like a field, like a football field. Just happy as just looked at me like I'm a bad person. So there's multiple of that happening in New York City.
Yeah.
The place is bananas. And half the people I think that listen are either living in New York or have heard these crazy stories before. But dude, I want to bring it back because I've known a bunch of people. My dad's run the marathon a bunch. And I think this, I don't want to say it's new, but this for a cause is really cool. My dad just usually ran it because he's been running it since the 80s, I think. And I don't think they really had causes back. I mean, they had causes. I don't want to say that, but they didn't have
I know what you're saying.
Cause-based jogging or running for something that was meaningful. You mentioned how important this was, but dude, you're doing a feat that 90% of America can't do. How much does that mean to you? To run for ALS and your grandma, but also to do something that's like a feat. Listen, playing college football is amazing. Playing NFL football is fantastic. Not half of those dudes can run a marathon.
Right.
So you're doing something that even these outstanding athletes can't do. That's so cool to me, man. I'm so in awe of you.
I think two things that have really, I think, helped me with this process. 2 books specifically. One of them was Never Finished by David Goggins. And then obviously his main book that everybody else has kind of heard about was Can't Hurt Me. I think that, those books have really showed me that our bodies are capable of a lot more than we really think. And, like I said, as I ramped up the volume, the only reason I ran that first 5 miles, the only reason I ran that first 10 miles was because of those books and thinking, what can't we do here? What can we do here? Now, the farthest I've ever ran so far is 15 miles, and I understand that a marathon is 26. And so I still have plenty of ways to go to get there. I think that the main thing, besides obviously the amazing cause I get to raise money for and contributing to something that's very, very important to me, is also just testing to see what my body can and can do. I think that's a beautiful thing. I think it's a beautiful thing but even that just goes back to the ALS, right? I think it's a blessing and an opportunity to test your body on what it can and can't do, because it can do so much for most people, and some people it can't. And for me, I honestly just feel like I'm almost wasting myself if I'm not pushing my body. People think I'm insane when I said I've worked out. I've worked out, quite honestly, almost 75 days in a row now. Whether I'm on vacation, whether I'm doing whatever. And, obviously I think resting is important, all this other stuff. But in my head, it's hard for me to stop right now, because I'm so bought into what can my body do when I treat it appropriately, when I give it the care and nutrition it needs, when I have a real reason. What can my body do? And I have yet to have a full answer to that. And so we're going to keep going on it. I just have so much motivation around this, and I get it. Motivation can be short-lived and this and that. But I have a million things that I'm really gunning for right here. So many things that are important for me that, quite honestly, I just, can't see myself stopping. And for the running, I'm just going to continue to do, what I've kind of set out to do since, for me, even going back all the way before the marathon training, everything like that, I wanted to change my life. And I have. I really, really have. We're really coming up on the year mark in about a month and a half of me really dedicating myself to that. And so now in my head, I'm just thinking, where else can we go? What else can we do? And it's been great. The people I've gotten to meet, the people I've gotten to speak with, too many great things have came out of me kind of progressing for me to stop. Quite honestly, there's been too many great things.
Listen, it's so inspirational. Like, it's so cool. Like, I want to get out and jog, although I'm not going to jog that far. But it's exciting, like, to hear you speak of like this passion and what you've done, dude. People don't realize, like, you literally changed your entire lifestyle from like a 315-pound man playing football to a 200, and you lost 90 pounds. So Matt Perkins, tell me with the math.
I'm 330 right now.
Pounds? I mean, just to be like, to drop that much weight and to do it for a cause and to do something, dude, jogging's not easy. Like, everyone thinks they can do it. Like you said, like, you can get on a treadmill for like half a mile and do it. Literally, it sucks. Like, I go outside and I chase my daughter for 5 steps and I'm like, ooh, someone needs a water break over here. Dude, if you need an ultra marathon, eventually when you get to this point, you need an ultra marathon sponsor or friend. I got a Badger for you who loves doing these 50-mile runs with like a team.
Yeah. I mean, and those are just right. Like, and that's the thing, right?
100 miles, maybe that
stuff. The 100-mile, like, people do it. People really do that. And I've never heard about it until I moved out here and started getting into running.
Bryce, you want a good book? Born to Run.
Born to Run. Okay.
It's all about like ultra marathons and like tribes in like central Mexico that are just, I don't know, they just run
just
like 100 miles easy. And then I think the worst thing that I read the book 10 years ago. The worst thing that ever happened to this tribe was they put shoes on. Because it was like they had these sandals that they ran in forever, and then they put like Nikes on, and Nike, could be Adidas or whatever they put on. They're like, it just doesn't, like, we use them because that's all we know.
Right.
So it doesn't matter. It's neither here nor there. It's just like these tribes like run 100 miles up a hill, back down. You're like, these guys look like they're not sweating. They're all crazy. 10 guys together.
Heart rate would be crazy. Their heart rate would be like us. I'm honestly almost talking right now. It is the most incredible. Incredible.
So Born to Run. It's really cool.
Check it out. Seriously, I love reading.
It's a quick read.
I love reading.
So wait, so we spent like 30 plus minutes on how amazing your running story is, but we love Wisconsin football,
right?
So
right.
I mean, I feel bad pivoting because I'm having such a good time talking about this.
No problem.
But you and I are going to have to get an Orange Theory class together. I think you'll love it.
Right.
Also, the hardest thing I've ever done workout, Tone House.
Okay.
In New York City.
Okay. I've never. Yeah. I think I've passed a couple, but never been inside one.
Dude, the first thing they said to me was, there's 3 garbage cans. That's the first, like, hey guys, there's 3 garbage cans in case you need to throw up. Oh. I'm like, wait, what? Why are we working out that hard? What's going on? I was not in shape either. I was a nightmare. The warm up, I was like literally on the floor dying.
Tone House.
So if you really want to push yourself, try Tone House one time. Okay. Let's go back to a smaller, littler Bryson at the beginning. What's it like? Tell us how you got into football, because now we're running out of time. Yeah. So tell us how you got into football, and tell us like when you thought football was your way to the next level.
Okay. Yeah, honestly. So I started playing football when I was 6 years old in Rockford, Illinois. And, before then I'd been playing basketball. Obviously every kid plays, whatever sports. I was playing baseball. I was a big kid, right? I was a big kid, especially when I was like 7 years old, 8 years old, at first, second grade. I was huge. And, all you have to do is really kind of just be big, and you're good at football at that age. And so, that was a sport I was like, I like it the most. I'm the best at this. I like this the most. My love for football started at a very young age. Like I said, 6 or 7, just really enjoyed the physicality of it, just loved the game, but also loved all the sports I was playing. Was, big into basketball, was in the baseball until really middle school. But I always knew I could and hoped I could make it to the next level in football. I would say the real kind of pivot for that was middle school, as it is for a lot of kids. I mean, just watching the highlight films of guys like J.J. Watt at the time, really anybody who was good at football. I mean, I was watching not even just I say JJ Watt, but I was watching wide receiver highlights. I was watching running back highlights. Just every other kid, just watching football highlights. I loved the game. Loved the game, and middle school, like I said, just that's when I turned it from okay, like I'm definitely pretty good at football to yeah, we're gonna shoot for Division I. Like I said, I was in Rockford, Illinois at the time. Moved to Lincoln, Nebraska. Played only on the freshman team actually when my first year in Nebraska. Didn't move up to varsity or anything like that. But that sophomore year was probably when I had the biggest kind of explosive move up.
Wait, go back. What was that transition like? Like football wise, it's almost like coming in as a Badger freshman. So
right.
Like, what was that like? What was that like for you, dude? That's a crazy time.
Yeah, I think for a lot of kids too. Now that I really think about this, such a great question. The weights, man. The weights, and like I said, that transition from freshman to sophomore year, I think I had a lot of the building blocks as a freshman in high school. I had like good size, had good feet because I've been playing basketball my whole life, good attitude because my parents raised me right and everything like that. But really got into weights. I didn't have a car yet freshman year, didn't really have much I could do. So I was at the gym. We had a very small little weight thing set up in the basement. So I lifted there. I remember my freshman summer, actually, this is how you guys really got me thinking back, which is awesome. My freshman summer, I would just, watch TV, and every commercial, I would just bang out 20 push-ups and like 10 squats and like however many sit-ups or something like that. Like every commercial, just because I had nothing else to do.
So what's a commercial? Never heard of it.
right?
JK. Terrible joke. Dad joke. Hashtag.
But just started doing that type of stuff. And then, fell in love with working out, not just lifting to try to get big, but truly enjoyed working out. Like I was very much into working out and lifting heavy weight when I was in high school.
What did you enjoy? But what did you enjoy about it? Because I have the same sentiment, but
Right.
I want to hear what you think, because it's not a glorious sport, or it's not anything special. First off, there are no girls. There's like no one to impress besides you and your teammates,
Right.
and your coach maybe. So like, what drove you? Like, what's exciting about working out to you?
That's a great, another great question. And I think I see it, quite honestly, I see it pretty much the same way now that I did when I very first started getting into it, that same time period that we were just talking about, that going into sophomore years, seeing what the body can do, seeing how far I can push myself. I love, and I will continue to always love getting better, taking the next step, going to the next level. And it doesn't even have to be physically, it can be mentally. That's why I love reading, right? But just being able, I think weightlifting really is especially when you first start, the easiest way to just see improvement and progress over time. Like you can just start to feel better. You start to look better. You start to look bigger. You start to be able to move better. And I fell in love with that. I really, really did fall in love with that. And I still am in love with it, quite honestly. But I think that getting that passion, not just for the game, but some of the weightlifting stuff, some of the speed work I was doing back then, like that's what elevated me to that next level throughout high school. Because then I took it from freshman year to sophomore year, refined it, adjusted, sophomore year to junior year, same thing. So yeah, I think it was just honestly the love of getting better, quite honestly.
Dude, your mentality can literally, like, for all the what's crazy about the world today and all the things that are going on in college sports and all this other, literally all you're saying is work hard, get better, and good things will happen to you.
Yeah.
And I find that might be lost in the sauce, or lost in the translation a little bit with kids. I say kids these days because then I sound so old. But like literally, we were in like the iron gym, like this dump of a gym. You're a little bit young. You're a lot younger than me. Like I was at a gym that had like the metal plates. Matt Perkins, you couldn't have been any different. Like you had these metal plates, these dumpy squat racks. We didn't have platforms. Like I don't even know. Like the place was like it smelled terrible. I don't think a woman has walked through this place in 25 years. So like everything you're saying about getting better, to me, it was getting better. You build so much confidence, right? When you're in the weight room, you could be a puny human being, but if you're in the weight room grinding, even if you're still skinny and a little bit cut, like you're going to feel good about yourself. It's a PSA, like just go out and work out. I don't know. Just go find something that's exciting for you. Listen, a 315-pound man could lose 90 pounds just by running and wanting to run the marathon. We should all do it. Matt Perkins, you lost like 700 pounds.
I've lost a little weight. I've lost a little weight. 65 pounds myself in the last 18 months or so.
No, you're on 90, you're on 65, and I'm at 20?
Yeah.
Oh, man.
My thing was diet.
We got 40 to go.
Switching to, I think I'm hungry. I'm just going to drink water instead. And
water. You're so right, Matt.
95% of the time, that solved the problem for me. So instead of, especially as someone who works from home, instead of going downstairs and snacking, I'm just, I'm going to have another, I'll have my Nalgene. I've got my White Girl Fabulous Stanley Cup. I've got to have something at all times. So yeah, that's been the key for me.
That's a great point. I do just want to say that real quick is the guy who I work right next to actually is the one who told me this. When you think you're hungry, you're not hungry, you're thirsty. And I can't believe I forgot to even say that point because it is so important. So many times, especially kind of like late at night or throughout the day sometimes, but really kind of like late at night, you think you're hungry, you just want to snack so bad. You snack so bad. Water and other liquids will really do justice.
Dude,
so I just had to, that was a really good point.
I got these huge, I went and got these huge red cups, plastic reds. Here they are. And my wife's like, these are disgusting. I hate them. I don't want to ever deal with them. And I'm like, but I hate filling my water cup. Like if you have a 12 ounce or a 16 ounce water cup, that's like not even a 5 second sip. Like that's a sip for me. I'm like, I need a 36 ounce something. So I got these huge cups and she's like, I just, and they're everywhere around my house. I mean, I carry it everywhere with me. So
attention athletes. Do you want a frictionless and tailored financial planning experience to secure your future? Well, look no further. Introducing Oak Bridge Wealth Management, the premier financial planning firm for professional athletes. Led by wealth manager Chris Anicetti, our team provides a unique and comprehensive approach, ensuring your financial success both on and off the field. We understand the unique challenges you face as a professional athlete, from managing cash flow habits to planning major business purchases and navigating complex contracts. That's why we've developed a proven process, working closely with our strategic partners to provide seamless solutions for your unique financial journey. Our services evolve with your career, offering short, mid, and long-term goal setting, portfolio optimization, real estate investments, and more. As you transition to life beyond the field, we support you with career development and philanthropic ventures. But don't just take our word for it. Top NFL players like Chase Boulier, Tyler Biadasz, Alec Ingold, and more trust Oak Bridge Wealth Management to guide them towards financial success. Troy Dye of the Minnesota Vikings says, I really love the work that Chris and the rest of the Oak Bridge group do. I especially like the honesty and transparency when it comes to setting up financial goals and plans that best fit my needs and situation. It's time to elevate your financial game plan. Connect with Chris on Instagram at OakBridgeWM_Anicetti. That's OakBridgeWM_ANICETE. And join the winning team.
So, Bryson, let's go back.
Okay.
So I know we're running out of time, so I want to keep it consistent here. And I love Matt Perkins' next question is going to be the question that I love the most is, all right, so I want to ask you a question before this, but Matt Perkins is going to ask you, you came on your visit. Who was your host and how many crazy things you did? But don't go there yet. You're in Nebraska. You're dominating football. Who's on the board? How did Wisconsin slip in there?
Man, this was crazy. The recruiting thing was really crazy for real. And I say that because, just the beginning wasn't, right? You get some of the smaller offers. I was going to as many camps as I could, whether it was, college camps, some of the combine stuff I was invited to. I started off getting offers from like South Dakota State, I think my first offer ever was South Dakota State. Ecstatic, right? Just like every other kid. Wow, I don't have to pay for college now. That's basically penciled in. I'm blessed. But now you're like, okay, like let's continue, see what we can do. And I did my dues. Stacked up the tier, got like, a little bit higher. Then you got, then I started getting like some of the Ivy League schools. Then I got some of the academies. And then my first FBS offer was Kansas State, which was a great offer at the time. I was living in Nebraska. Kansas State is a good school, and even now is doing terrific. But they were doing all right. Would not have been bad school at all. And so once I got to Kansas State, now I'm kind of on the radar for teams, right? Now I'm getting invited out to camps. I'm getting the letters. And from there, it was like, now I'm getting like not Ohio State. Now I'm getting like Iowa State, right? Now I'm getting Iowa. Iowa was my first Big Ten offer. Now I'm getting Iowa. Hold on, I'm a Nebraska kid. Where's Nebraska, right? This was the interesting.
That was my question.
The most interesting thing about my whole recruiting process was Mike Riley was the head coach of Nebraska at the time I was getting recruited. He called me into his office, and I'm thinking, about time I have an offer. I have all these Division I FBS offers. I live 5 minutes from the stadium. Like, here we go. He calls me in there. I get a whole tour, all this other stuff, and we're in his office. And at the very end, he tells me that they're not going to offer me. And I'm there with my mom, just thinking like, hey, what? Wait, what's going on? Why aren't they offering me? Like, hold on. They were interested in another D lineman, at the time, so they weren't going to go for me. And I remember right there being like, we're going to go to Iowa and we're going to come back and kill these dudes. That's what's going to happen. And not a lot of people.
That's wild.
Yeah,
dude.
It really was wild. It was one of the craziest things.
Give me 1 second.
Right.
So you're saying that these guys took you around, showed you the stadium, showed you everything, and then at the end we're like, we're not even going to offer you?
And mind you, my family is all Nebraska. My mom grew up in Grand Island, everything Nebraska, family in Omaha, small town Nebraska, Lincoln, like all over the place, right? My family was in Nebraska. And I grew up a Nebraska fan because, my mom was a Nebraska fan. So I was watching all the games. I was a Nebraska fan. I really was. And, hearing that, I was just like, no way. There's no way this is happening, right? And I was like, okay. Not a lot of people know this, like I said, but I was verbally committed to Iowa. And that's something that not a lot of people really knew. But
nobody wants to know it either.
Right. Yeah.
Nobody cares. Nobody wants to know
it. I was silently committed to Iowa. I was telling him, I'm gonna come out and say, no, I was gonna come out and do something. I just wanted to make sure. That surety left when I got the call from Coach Noakes. I was working Parks and Rec at the time. This was in the summer now. I was working Parks and Rec at the time, like cleaning bathrooms and doing all that nasty stuff. I had a call. I'm like, what is this? And it was the Wisconsin coach. And Coach Noakes literally gave me an offer right then and there. And I remember getting off and we obviously talked, a little bit more in depth and everything, but he gave me an offer at the end of the phone call. And I remember thinking, oh man, Wisconsin, like Iowa's good, but like Wisconsin is just really just different. Like I said, I grew up watching JJ Watt. Like that was my guy to watch on the highlight film. And Coach Noakes, I'm like, Coach Noakes, like Aaron Donald, Coach Noakes, like, hold on here. Like we gotta reevaluate the situation. So that obviously just threw a huge huge wrench into my plans to commit to Iowa. And I ended up going there. I went to Iowa on an official visit, and that was when I was supposed to commit. I didn't commit there. They kind of knew something was up with that when I posted my Wisconsin offer thing like that. And I ended up changing my mind. I really just ended up changing my mind. But that's not where things ended, though. That you would think that's where kind of things ended, right? Coach Mike Riley from Nebraska gets fired. Right. This is kind of later on. This is closer to signing day. This is with probably like 3 weeks left of signing day. Coach Mike Riley gets fired. Coach Frost was still at UCF, and they had just played in the it was like some type of championship. I don't know if it was like the American League Championship.
It was the American Athletic Conference title game.
It would have been that, right? I had gotten an offer from UCF. I already been in contact with Coach Frost about UCF. Coach, I think Barrett Rude, I think was his name, was one of the coaches who coached at Lincoln Southeast, which is where I went to school before going to UCF. I remember getting a phone call after that game, after the UCF championship game, and it was Coach Frost. And he let me know that he was coming. This was before it was public. Before it's public, he let me know that he was coming to Nebraska and that I was going to be the first kid he offered. And now we're talking oh my goodness. Right?
Talking about a bone been thrown in the mix. Wow.
That was just the biggest mix-up ever. I will never forget. And I had to wait. You know, he ended up coming to my house basically the next day. Had looked like he got barely any secrets. He just won a championship, just got announced as head coach. Came into my house for an in-house visit, literally like within 24 hours. My mom was a fan of Coach Frost growing up. I mean, she graduated in the same class, I think, as him. So it was a really big deal to have him in the house. I mean, it was crazy, especially me being a Lincoln, Nebraska kid. And I remember posting the offer and posting myself taking a picture with him, and it just blowing up. I mean, I think it got like, 4,500, 5,000 likes or something like that, however many like retweets and something like that. And that means a lot for a kid who's like 17 years old in high school, right? That means a lot. And I just remember thinking, like, what are we going to do? What are we going to do? And, kind of long story short with it all, to be honest, I said this on when I not recommitted to Wisconsin, but, kind of affirmed my commitment to Wisconsin was, I'm a man of my word with this stuff. And I didn't want to go back on Coach Noakes. I knew I had an opportunity at Wisconsin to play behind Olive, who was an awesome mentor to me. I knew that the business school, like I said, I wasn't always just completely set on football. My mom always made school an important thing. Wisconsin Business School was awesome. And quite honestly, Nebraska, I really, really wanted Coach Frost to do well there. But I wasn't really buying into a lot of the changes that, and how soon that those changes were to take hold, to be honest. I knew that Wisconsin just had something more stable, and I thought I would have opportunity there right away. And I did. And so that's why I ended up choosing Wisconsin. A lot of people weren't necessarily happy with that. But I do think that ended up being the regardless of anything that happened, the best decision of my life was to just stick with Wisconsin there. It was.
I mean, you would have had a winning season at Nebraska.
You would have never
played the bowl game.
Never. It.
Yeah. Wait, they never played in a bowl game for 4 years?
5 years.
No, they haven't. No, yeah.
I guess they just crawled under a rock for me because I feel bad for them, but I'm happy you didn't make. How do you know that it's like a 17-year-old?
You don't. You honestly could have been the exact opposite, but I knew that I was going to get to go play with Jonathan Taylor. I knew that we were going to get to do something great. I mean, at the end of the day, my freshman year, the offensive line was on the cover of Sports Illustrated. How bad could we be? And we weren't even that great my freshman year somehow. We weren't even good. We lost to BYU my freshman year somehow.
Every team always finds a way. We find a way to lose a terrible team.
And find a way. Like I said, though, you don't know that as a kid, but you really can't hope for it. And a lot of things that I hope for end up kind of coming true for the most part. And like I said, it really was.
You work hard, dude.
Right?
Because you work hard and you're smart.
Well,
Matt
you got
Perkins,
thrown into the fire quickly because you mentioned Olive and he got injured, and you were the next man up as a true freshman. What is it like being thrown into the mix at 18 years old against guys who are legitimately 24-year-old grown ass men.
Man, this is great, guys. This is honestly some stuff I haven't really thought about in a while, man. This is really great. Man, here's the thing. I was able to we were just so young as a D-line my freshman year. My first game starting, I think it might have been me starting this was Rutgers. Rutgers was my first start. It was like me, Caden Lyles, who just came over from offense for half a year, and Matt Henningsen, who was a walk-on. I mean, it was, and he wasn't even a scholarship player at the time. We were very young and just trying to figure things out. And for me, I was just like, this is what I came here to do. Opportunity. So we're not going to get to the place that we came here to be and shy away from it. So I attacked it head on. I always tried my best to practice like I was starting. And I think that Coach Noakes prepared me well. I think that going against an insane offensive line every day in practice prepared me well. I know we weren't great, but all those guys in the NFL, all of them, all those guys that I played with as a freshman that were on the offensive line are all in the NFL. We didn't do great, but those guys were amazing players and still are. They're still great across the board. I think I had a lot of preparation going into it. Now, with all that being said, I was still a freshman. I was still 18, 19 years old, and I was scared. I was scared to make mistakes. I was scared to do things wrong. And that's normal. But it is one of the most exhilarating things ever, taking that step up from being the backup, playing good, going from the backup to not really playing at all as backup to, okay, you're getting good minutes to starting. I mean, the having your name called before the game, very few feelings like that. And, getting to be a part of it was really, really cool. It was really, really cool. Very, very exciting. Something I'll never forget. I'll never forget the night before in the hotel, before the Rutgers game. I'll never forget running out. I'll never forget my name being called on the board, all that stuff. The first start is something that you never forget, I think.
Dude, you never forget. It is the coolest thing that could possibly, exactly what you're saying, like scared to make a mistake, nervous, scared. It's all the same things. I think every single person who walks on that field I felt the same way. I'm like, oh man, am I supposed to be here? Like, am I in the right place? Like, this is not small Westchester football anymore. But it brings me back to, man, hearing you say that stuff and like being in the hotel the night before, scared still, and your coach is like, dude, you're in. Like, are you okay? You're like, yeah, man. You gotta catch all those guys.
Yeah, what you gonna do? You gonna tell your coach, yeah, I'm good. But I mean, it was just me and Matt. I just go back to how young we were, man. It was me and Matt Henningsen, and Matt is a great friend of mine now. I mean, not now, like, because he's been for 4 or 5 years now. But even now, I mean, he's one of the few guys I talk to at least a couple times a week, pretty much. Even to this day. Now he's with the Broncos and all the other stuff. I just remember being in a hotel with him, just being nervous in there, man. But yeah, it really is, just like you said, one of the few feelings you can get out of life. It's great.
So we have a couple more minutes. What's it like? Tell the people who are listening who don't know what it's like to step on the field at Camp Randall on a game day, see jump around. Like, dude, even the crap music they played before a game gets me amped today. Dude, that is bananas. BA. And I'm like, that song gets me ready to run through a wall. And I hated it at the time. But then you buy into it and you're like, I kind of love this song. Or not Let the Bodies Hit the Floor. What's a song that doesn't make any sense? Like, woo-hoo.
Oh,
like,
Song
whatever
2
that
by
song
Blur.
is.
Song
these
2
things
by
were playing
Blur.
before a game.
Yeah.
So it's like, what's it like to be on the field? All these people, there's like 80,000 people who are like, we want the Badgers to win. It is really an experience like none other. But what was that like for you?
it really is just so hard to explain unless you've been in the moment and been a part of it. It's just, running out there, obviously you just run through the smoke. So there's that half second where you just see nothing but kind of fog and maybe one person ahead of you. You hope you don't hit a cheerleader. You hope you don't hit somebody in the band. And as soon as you,
or you might hope you do.
or you might hope you do. But as soon as you clear out of that smoke, as soon as you clear out of that initial part, you just see everybody there. Oh man, it is just the craziest feeling. You want to just scream and just like let all your emotion out. It's so hard because you need to kind of obviously keep it in. But nobody ever does. I remember just running as fast as I could and just yelling and beating my chest and this and that. But let me say this though. I got hurt my sophomore year, right? And so I wasn't able to run out of the tunnel for basically a whole year. I had to come out with my crutches. I had to come out with my crutches on the side. I couldn't even go through the middle. I had to come out through the side, take the long way around, right? The only better feeling than when I ran out that very first time as a freshman was when I fully ran out again my senior year. And I don't say my junior year because of COVID. COVID made everything different, right? My senior year, having the fans back, being 100% healthy, feeling confident with Coach K, loving the game again, loving every part of Madison, enjoying life, knowing I had my internship, everything before that summer before, having my life somewhat lined up, just being in a good spot and knowing that that's going to be my last season, my last first tunnel run out. Nothing better than that. Because I was
you can't even bottle it up.
Yeah, the first time you run out, you love it because you're so excited. But for me, after being injured, everything I just listed, having the huge part of gratitude with the excitement, with the anticipation, there was no better feeling. I don't think I've had very, very few better feelings than that, just in life in general, than that last first run
and I'll tell you,
of my senior season.
You're not going to.
Yeah.
You're not going to. Because, dude, you never take it for. I love the gratitude aspect, right? Like, you're so thankful to be there, but you're so excited. You're so lucky to play for football for Wisconsin. You're so fired up beyond. Like, dude, there's nothing in life in that right now that gets me as fired up. There's just, what can I possibly do to be as fired up to playing a football game? Like, I love my daughter more than anything, but like, I can't be that fired up to just hang out with her and play with toys. Like, it would be like me going crazy. So, dude, it brings back all those like raw emotions of like literally running out. It could be any team. You could be playing the worst team in the whole entire state or the whole entire nation. You're like, these people came to see me. Like, it's like Gladiator. Like, I gotta be that guy.
Right. But
it's just exciting, man. It is nothing. You can't explain it.
Yeah. And but you know what? That's the best part. People say that sometimes, like, you'll never get this feeling back again. And they almost say it in like a negative light. That's the best part about it. That's the best part about it, is you have to enjoy it that time, because you're not going to get it again. And that to me is what's beautiful, about things like that and about life. Is you just don't always get it. There's always going to be a last version of that. And like I said, people hear the word last and they're like, oh man, like I don't get to. That's what makes it so beautiful though. If I was running out of a tunnel on my way to work, or if I was running out of a tunnel every single day, it wouldn't be worth anything. Nobody would care.
It'd be kind of cool though. You can run out of Subway. Sometimes you run out of Subway as fast as possible. You got to get out of that Subway sometimes.
No, I really just, like you said, the gratitude is always huge with me in a lot of things in life, and especially during that time period, especially after the injury. I was so thankful, so happy just to be running out of there again and getting a chance to play the game that I love. And no feeling like it. Unless you're done, no feeling.
All right. Well, we don't have you for very much longer, but I am going to finally get some questions in, Bernie. I'm going to go a little rapid fire here at the end. So first of all, Bryson, biggest physical freak you played with at Wisconsin?
Whew, great question. Oh man. Biggest physical freak. I feel like I just kind of have to say Josh Seltzer, maybe? Like,
interesting.
I say him because he's just built like a fridge. And I'm gonna lock that in. I'm gonna lock in that answer because he was so strong, and even out. I mean, he was just weight room strong, but also football strong. If you played the game, there's a difference. Sometimes it can be extremely strong in the weight room, and they don't even really hit that hard. Going against him in some of the drills was one of the worst. Was honestly, and this might have been my downfall, right? It was just like I did not look forward to it. I didn't. I get it. Guys, a lot of guys who get to the next level like love the hitting and the head bang and all this other stuff. I didn't love going against them. Call it what you want. He was huge, and I could push him as hard as I want. He's not going anywhere. He's not going anywhere. He was a freak, could clean the house, could bench 2 houses, could squat whatever he wanted. Him, Isaiah Mullins, even though he's so tall, can squat so much, can somehow
over
clean.
7? I saw him do 700, I think, last summer.
And he's like 6'7",
4.
6'8". He's definitely taller than 6'4". He's tall as hell. He might not be 6'7".
Mullins or Loudermilk?
I'm talking Mullins.
Okay.
Mullins got to be at least 6'5". Mullins got to be at least 6'5" because Matt Henningsen claims to be 6'4".
No, we're going to see some of these guys at Squat Fest here in June, which I'm very excited about. Second question.
Mullins is just a big, strong dude.
Seltzer also, my next question is going to be, who was the best blocker? Who was the toughest guy to get by as a blocker?
Toughest guy to get through. I just got to give this one to Biotish. And I'm talking one-on-one pass rush here. Obviously, I was the nose guard. I say Biotish just because, he was so good that he didn't always try his hardest, in my humble opinion. But like as soon as he was frustrated or something like that, I mean, good luck. Good luck. Olive did some beautiful things that made it look easy sometimes. I mean, Olive could just move so fluid with his body that he could get around anybody, and sometimes he made Biotish look like whatever. But for me, out of the centers I went against, and even including like some of the guards, Biotish, when he was really going with his hands and his feet, there was just sometimes I just felt like, I don't know what to do here. I'm not going to bull him. He'll throw me to the ground somehow. Good luck getting around him. He's moving his feet like a ballerina. It's he's really that great. He's a really, really solid player.
Favorite class you took at UW?
Oh, you guys are awesome with this. I'm telling you guys podcasts are really great.
Dude, I don't even have an answer for these.
My favorite class, I would say philosophy. I took a philosophy class. It was more of like on the meaning of life and all these different like scenarios. It was a class that really, really made me think. A class that I did not think I was going to enjoy, that I really end up liking a lot, and took a lot from a lot of thinking from that. I read a lot of books on kind of human development, human psychology. Like I said, I'm always trying to keep my mind wired in that way. And I honestly think that was one of the first pathways into that, was taking one of those philosophy classes.
All right. Last question. It is Saturday night. You guys have just won a game. Where is Bryson Williams spending his Saturday night after he has turned 21?
One, we could have lost the game. I'm going to tell you the same answer.
Okay, let's do it.
College club. I was there. And you know what? A lot of my teammates weren't there. They were at probably Wando's or something. A lot of my teammates like to go to Wando's. And so I was one of the few football players, not obviously there was plenty of them there that ended up showing up, but I was one of the few football players there sometimes And I loved it. I could have done almost nothing in the game, and you would have thought I was something crazy. Everybody was saying, good game, this and that. No, that's just where a lot of my friends went. And it was just always a great time. Like I said, there were times that we lost the game and I was still there. It was always, just a lot of fun,
Follow-up
being there.
question.
What's going on?
Let's say in a specific year, Coach Alvarez says you can't go back to the college club. What does a Bryson Williams do at that point? Because I'll tell you what I did. I did go back, and then I used to start peppering in going back incognito. And if you ever saw a football guy, you're like, yo, I didn't see you here. But what happens when you're not allowed back at the college club because there was someone who did something really stupid in 2003?
Just going off of this and golly, man, this is so funny. I remember this was.
I can't wait to tell you this story offline, though. This is a bad story, but I'll tell you it offline. But I can't wait.
Well, honestly,
I mean, not really that bad. It's not really that bad. Like, no one got hurt. It was just really some, like a knucklehead football player. But Bryson, please keep going.
So, just a quick story on something kind of like that. This was during COVID. This was the COVID season. And this is like when everybody was getting COVID. They were talking about like shutting down the season again. Like we just kind of started up. We weren't supposed to be out. We were not supposed to be out doing anything. And I went to Chasers. I was at Chasers 2.0. And I remember I was out having a great time. And I remember getting called into the coach's office the next day. I'm like, all right, whatever. I get in there and somebody had tweeted at Wisconsin Badgers. Some dude tweeted at Wisconsin Badgers talking about saying, like something about the football team trying to be extra safe. And he tagged me. I didn't even check social media at the time yet. He tagged me at Bryson Williams at Chasers right now, blah, 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 blah. And I'm thinking, oh my God, there's no way. And so I did get caught up one time. We weren't supposed to be out. I was just enjoying it. And the guy tweeted at me. I thought it was the craziest thing. Like, come on, dude. Really? Yeah, I really got to do that.
Listen, you know what? Yes, that is lunacy. But at the same time, like, you're growing up in this age of, like, anyone could say anything about you on social media, and the coaches could see it at any time. I have a million questions about this because Facebook just started when I was in college, right? Matt Perkins,
yeah, when we were in college, 2004. So you were a junior, senior. I was a freshman.
All you could do was friend people, like,
and you could poke them.
You could poke them, which is now completely inappropriate. It depends on what you think poke is. I think it's one thing. It's not like, hey, Bryson, nice to see you. And it's not what I thought it was. I didn't use it in that way, I guess.
Right.
Also, sorry, Allie's mom, my wife's mom, listens a lot. But this is like 20 years ago, and don't worry about it. But, dude, growing up in this age, Bryson, I know we got to go. You got to wake up early. But, dude, what the hell is it like to always have to be aware of, like, this social media, there's someone saying, you shouldn't be here. Look, he's here. That to me is, I can't even wrap my head around it.
I think the craziest thing about, what we're kind of talking about now is even just from my freshman year, it's in a whole different place. Recruiting's in a whole different place. Transferring's in a whole different place. Social media is in a whole different place. So my answer might not even be sufficient for what's going on now, because social media is the biggest part of, quite honestly, is the biggest part of college sports for now, is social media. I mean, it's how
it's a couple years ago. Isn't that crazy?
It's only been, like I said, like for me, everything's just so different. Honestly, I never really worried about, the social media impact too much. Obviously there was like a lot of negative things, but that was never anything new. Now it's, you got to make sure that anything in your past that might be kind of whatever, it has to be gone. It has to be gone. You have to make sure that you are not in the wrong place at the wrong time, because anybody and everybody has their phone out, no matter where you are. And that was something I never really was too concerned about with recruiting, when I was a freshman or anything like that. Like I said, I only had one instance. But now it's all over the place. And I can't even imagine, some of the difficulties that brings, but you just gotta be extra careful, I guess. Like,
what do you say to the coaches when they're like, hey, you were at Chasers 2.0?
I was like, yeah, I was there. I said, look, they said, we didn't want you going out. We told everybody not to be going out. And, for me, like I said, I'm a man I wear. So I wasn't going to be them like, no, it wasn't me. Like, I was like, look, I'm 21. There was literally nothing else to do in this city right now. I don't love playing video games. I just want to go have fun. We're with so many people now. Like, everybody's getting sick anyway. That was what I was trying to say. Blah, 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 blah. They didn't love it, but at the same time, they just told me not to do it again. Like I said, it was one of those things that like, and did I do it again? I guess I'll never know. No other tweets.
You know who would have been standing next to you in all those times? Me, if I was playing. The amount of times I went to the
right.
Oh man, dude, I would have been like, Bryson, who? Never heard of him, coach. Who you're saying there's a guy on our team who's been at the college club and there's a picture of us tagged on Twitter? I had never heard of Twitter either, coach. Dude, I was the most lie and deny till you die. That was my our quote we lived by in high school.
That's how you
did that, right? And I'm like, no, never heard of it.
You just pulled a Shaggy and said it wasn't me.
It wasn't me.
That's great. That was great.
But I was never
That was
caught.
really great.
I was never caught doing on the counter. It wasn't me. Like, I was never caught doing anything. One time I was, but it was illegal. Like, you were allowed to, like, go out at night.
Right.
More stories, Bryson, for you and I. Seltzer water and the lime in New York City sometime. There's a lot. I'm sure there's a lot of good, funny things we cannot share to the public.
We've got a lot more stories to share. We're just going to have him back for a part 2 sometime. We are going to link to your fundraiser for ALS in the show notes. Bryson, where can people find you on social media?
Bryson Williams 1 is my Instagram. It's really the only kind of social media I use for the most part. Bryson Williams on Facebook. Bryson JW18 on Twitter. But obviously the most important thing there, if anybody listening to this wants to, truly help and support, I'm happy to hear the link will be attached, and, would really, really appreciate any help there. It really means a lot. So,
dude, you got a blue check mark.
Yeah, I got a blue check mark.
Damn, bro, you are a fucking
courtesy of the football team,
Wow. So I'm proud of you, man. Listen, what day is the marathon?
November 5th. We got some time. So
listen, if I can get out there and where are you going to be on, like, let's say like mile 13? What do you think?
I have no idea. I'm tracking for my goal is 3:45 or less, which is about an 8:30 pace, which is, kind of crazy thing. If I couldn't do that first mile at 7.5, now I'm planning on running 26 at that pace. That's my goal, and that's what I'll be working towards.
Good for you, dude.
Seriously, thank you guys again so much for having me. You guys are killing it on the podcast stuff right now. The questions are great. You guys' stuff is very entertaining. Love the wide range of variety of cats you guys have on here. So thank you for letting me be a part of it. It really means a lot, guys.
Listen, Bryson, thank you, man. Your story is fantastic. What you're doing. I could spend an hour of just listening to you talk about your workout routine and like your running and why. And all of our experience have some, like, let's say collaboration, some like of the same, right? Like, you were at the college club. I was there 15 years earlier. Like, these things make us all feel good about why we came to Wisconsin and running on the field and all these things and the coaches. And so it's just a pleasure to have you, man. I'm so pumped you're in New York so I can actually come and hang out with you.
Yeah.
There's no New York football guys. Like, there's no football guys in New York.
No, there's not. And I didn't even know you were.
You got Tip in now. You got Tip now.
Really do it.
He's in Jersey.
Yeah, he is in Jersey.
But you listen, we got Tip.
Maybe that will be the way we get Bryson to be a Jets fan and not a Giants fan. Not like, if you are a Jets fan, that I'm a Bills fan, so you might lose me just a little bit on that one. But, I won't hold it against you too much. We won't hold it against you guys and gals listening to whatever pro team you listen to. We know you love the Badgers. We know you love Bryson. We know you love Bernie. So here on Believe in Badgers, presented by betonline.ag, we appreciate you listening. Make sure to subscribe, rate, and review wherever you are listening. All of our episodes are on YouTube. Make sure you're checking out and subscribing to the podcast on YouTube to see Bernie's beautiful face in all of the shows. We'll be back later this week with Daria Gumbawale and Hugs Etienne, part 2 of our 4-part series with the guys from Vibes Golf. And then on Monday, one of the most exciting episodes for me coming up. Chris Mad Dog Russo is joining us on the show, and this is going to be a blast. He is a sports media hero of mine. So Bernie, we're going to have a lot of fun with Mad Dog. Speaking of New York legends, absolute
who hasn't
legend.
listened to him like his whole time growing up, but also who forgot about him? Me, I'm sorry, I feel terrible. But Matt Perkins hit me with do you know who Mad Dog is? I'm like, I think I hung out with that guy in college. But Mike and the Mad Dog, yeah, I know who that is. Once you give me the whole line, I know who it is. I'm like, the Mad Dog.
I drank plenty of Mad Dog in college. I'll tell you that much.
But Mike and the Mad Dog, I think we used to prank him when I was in high school. So it'll be fun to talk to him. That'll be a good time.
It'll be a lot of fun. So we appreciate everyone tuning in here to the Believe in Badgers podcast on the Believe Podcast
Bryson
Network, presented by betonline.ag. Support Bryson Williams. And until next time, on Wisconsin.
On Wisconsin.
On Wisconsin.